On November the 18th in Waltonville, one of the area's oldest indoor basketball facilities went the way of the wrecking ball. But 1 week before the demolition crew razed the building, SISC photojournalist Ceasar Maragani captured the last ever images of the basketball barn and even found two former athletes that played there.
I'm standing in what could be perhaps the oldest gymnasium in existence in southern Illinois. This building was built in 1924 in Nason, Illinois, and at the time it hosted the Nason High School and grade school basketball teams. For some reason, they decided to move this to Waltonville and give it to the Waltonville School District or sell it in 1934. And so this entire gym was dismantled and brought here to this site, which is located in the heart of Waltonville. You actually played basketball in this place?
Yes, till 1958 was the last year it was used.
At the time when you played basketball in here, did you think it was an old building then, back in 1957 and 58?
It didn't make any difference, that's all we had.
You can actually see the remains of a shuffleboard here as Mr. Dickey sweeps it off. And yeah, I believe that's where the basket hung, right there. That was the standard for it. That's where the scoreboard was, huh? I'll be darned.
Well, they had a fancy shower back here too, a dressing room back.
Well, let's go take a look at that.
Okay, right over this way here. Okay, there. Right in here was a shower, and they had these lights like this, and their shower was right up here.
The current owner of the gymnasium is actually in the process of tearing it down, and it's not because he doesn't appreciate history, but the current owner, Wesley Dickey, says that he's tearing it down for safety reasons and health issues because he doesn't want a young person in town getting in and hurting themselves, and it's pretty much gotten to the point where it is a health hazard. With me today are Rodney Shirts and Max Shirts. Max was the first one to play in the Waltonville High School old gym that's being torn down when it opened in Waltonville after being moved from Nason. And Rodney was actually a member of the last high school team to play in that facility.
Well, the old gym actually was better than a lot of gyms we played in during my 4 years.
Well, tell me about some of those other
We
places.
went to Dahlgren and played up over a store with a pot-bellied stove on the half line, and somebody had to stay there and watch it to keep you from getting into it. And the ceiling was so low that you couldn't do much but shoot a layup or line drive.
I can remember one time we were playing and our center, people stood around the sides and he knocked a lady down. And I just remember this vaguely because I come to memory, and he stopped and picked her up and somebody hollered at him and he dropped this lady and took off. But
that's
some
funny.
of the things that happened back
In the day.
in those days.
This is an exterior view of the old Waltonville Gymnasium. It has a lot of ambience and character, just like the inside. The gym's coming down and it'll be gone forever probably before the winter months get here, and it's a little piece of Americana and Southern Illinois history that's going by the wayside, so we feel very blessed for SI Sports Connection to be able to give you a look at it while it's still here. Well, Jim, it was kind of interesting when we talked about doing this story on the old basketball barns, and I realized after talking to you that, you know, something I'd wanted to do a story on a long time for some venue as a journalist was the old basketball barn in Waltonville, which was made totally out of wood, very old, actually about 80 years old. And for the people who know me well, they know that Waltonville's my hometown. It's where I grew up. My father was a coal miner there, and I went to grade school and high school there, and consider it, you know, the basically foundation of who I am today, where I grew up, as you do too in Ceasar. But for us to go back then, and when I discovered, as we worked on this story, that barn was actually going to be torn down within a few weeks, it really ratcheted the importance of us doing this story up in my eyes, and yours as well, after I explained it to you.
And I think that probably the unique thing with me is that I couldn't picture in my mind where it was at. I knew where the current facility's at, and that's what all I've known about Waltonville basketball. So that was very unique that I've driven by there hundreds of times in my life and never knew that was a basketball facility. And then to add to the story, you actually found a couple of players, Max and Rodney Schertz, who played in there. And how much did they add to this story?
Well, they added a lot, Jim, because as you know, having worked on the story together, Max was on the first basketball team at Waltonville High School to play in that gym in 1934 when it was moved there from Nason. And then Rodney Schertz was on the last team in 1954 to play on that same gymnasium rather. It was special we were able to record those memories of that gym before it was destroyed. It's basically buried underground as we speak. It's gone.
I think when you look, Caesar, at the direction that athletics has gone, multi-purpose facilities now, and you look at where they started back in the 40s and 50s in facilities like that, you really can say it's a world of difference.
Could you imagine sitting along the sideline watching a game there in that facility? It's hard to picture today, is it? Especially with the big facilities we have today and the amazing thing. And it's interesting to note too, Jim, that that was a skating rink after Waltonville High School opened their new high school, and actually a lot of people for a couple of years actually skated in that. They put a new floor in, it was a skating rink, and then it was closed and just used for storage until the current owner decided that it was in such bad shape that it had to be torn down.